BioWare just released a new N7 trailer, and it's a pretty doozy one. It doesn't say a lot, but it does give some confirmation on very specific topics, and I want to go through it. A detailed breakdown through every single aspect of this trailer. And as you can see by all my tabs here, we're going to go through a lot of different theories, understandings, and whatnot. So yeah, first off, let's go through the build up to this, because this trailer wasn't just dropped out of nowhere. There was some build up to it, and so here are these things. On BioWare's blog, they had these little access codes that had a timer to go up and release a little clip from this whole thing. This was released in 3 segments, and eventually when all three all three access codes were decrypted, the whole video was released. So each one has its own very unique thing. So first off, let's go through this one. Access code epsilon, access code accepted, secondary encryption detected, a whole lot of numbers, and this is the very important part: Andromeda distress signal detected, year sent redacted, audio transcript, although they should have known by now not to underestimate humanity, human redacted. So there's a lot here, especially because there's an Andromeda distress signal, and when we get into some other bits, such as the poster for the teaser trailer, it's going to reveal a lot of things that I'm really excited about. So, and then we move to the next one, which is access code Oculan 2819 Defiance, access code accepted, tertiary encryption detected, classified, review briefing materials on official Alliance comms channel. So obviously something's happening, something's building up, something's, shady dealings and whatnot. We don't really know what it is. And then we get the final one, which is access code post Nebula warning, security breach detected, contact systems alliance, epsilon oxylon nebula. Now this is really cool because obviously there's some big mystery building up. Something in Andromeda, some distress signal has been detected, and something involving Andromeda is now influencing this, especially because now we have, with this one as well, a year 2819 Defiance, which could be the year that the next Mass Effect game is releasing in, or not releasing in, maybe, but where it's going to be set in, which is very interesting. And then we obviously get to this one, which obviously says now something's arrived, something's here. Interesting enough, as obviously this commentator also points out, is that each of these names, Epsilon, Oculan, and Nebula, all correspond to names Mass Effect was going to be called. As you can see here, here's Epsilon, here's Optagon, and here's Nebula. And additionally, some interesting stuff points out is that these are the 3 stages for a star forming. Now, obviously, the implication here is that the merger between the Milky Way and Andromeda coming together, which I'm not sure how solid that theory is. It's cool to note that, but we'll see how that pans out. But onto the actual trailer itself, let us take this step by step. Just watch the full thing and see and point out what we can see. So obviously we can see some movement here. We see this person, who they are, goes up. There's an N7 sort of iconography there. Turns around. Oh, it's some other person. N7 there. And then they walk up with a very different sounding gun from what we normally have. It's not a Phalanx or a Califix. Interesting enough. And then they move to a ship that seems like the must skipper. And that's it. So let's go through it bit by bit. Okay, so as we see at the beginning, also interesting enough to point out is that gameplay not final represents a game in development, which either this is like in-house graphics, which is interesting. Obviously we can see there's a light here. So what does this mean? It's like slightly moving, but not that much. And additionally, we can look at the windows here and see there are sky cars whizzing past, especially because as the light goes here, there's something moving past them. Additionally, we can see they're actually looking behind them to this person that's over here. Who they are and what they do is unknown. But it is clear that they may be a companion, or at least a character that this new protagonist may be meeting. Slowing it down quite a bit, we can then start to see, like, who is this? We can see like there's a head shape there, but it's very vague. but it does have this silhouette of like a Krogan rather. Additionally, some other elements we can point out are these little canisters or containers. I don't really think they mean much of anything, especially because the way that this person's walking doesn't seem to indicate any distress. It's more just like a casual, we're leaving the port and going back to our ship sort of thing. And additionally, when we actually see the ship over here, it's very similar to a teaser concept. It's very blurry, but a teaser concept beforehand, which is the Mudskipper. And yeah, now let's go talk about this character. Who are they specifically? Now, their design, their armor design, does not really fit Commander Shepard. As we can go check, where are they? Here, right? This has been Commander Shepard's like iconic armor that people know them for, right? From the helmet to the design to everything, right? And this is the Mass Effect 3 version, obviously. And then we can see like this armor is very bulky. Well, this armor right here is very slim. You can see that this armor is extremely slimmed down than what, you know, we see Commander Shepard wearing in either instance. Even in Mass Effect 1, where it's a lot more slimmer, this is like extremely slim, especially because in Mass Effect 1 there's a lot more prominent shoulder pads, and in this one it implies that there's a jacket. Additionally, the colors are also just a bit off. We can see here that the color that Commander Shepard uses is a bit more darker than this color, and this one is a lot more reflective of the light. If we look here, with this one, the Pathfinder armor that Ryder and Alec uses is a lot more similar to this armor, especially with the more cushions that are inside the armor. This one actually has a cushion inside it, and is additionally the colors over here are more similar to this. Additionally, the helmet that we can look at is a lot more similar to you know, the Pathfinder's helmet than it is to Commander Shepard's. Commander Shepard's helmet is this shape, and especially because people point out that this could be in the future, and I agree it could also be in the future, but if it is in the future, Commander Shepard's helmet would not change that much. This is their helmet. If anything, it maybe changed just to be a bit bigger, maybe a bit narrower, maybe it would have some like extra bits over here, but it would not have a dome shape. It would not make a dome shape. And if we see in the teaser, we can see that this is a dome-shaped helmet. That the top part is glass that they can probably see through. And again, this is invoking something that's not Commander Shepard. Because if it was invoking Commander Shepard, it'd be more similar to this design than it is to this design. Even if this isn't like a dome-shaped helmet, it's definitely more evocative of this than it is this. Additionally, what we can also see is the sort of slimmed downness, as I mentioned, is more similar to how Mass Effect Andromeda designed some of its armors than how Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 did. So, and also we can also look at the lights here. Look at here in Mass Effect 2's design. The lights for Commander Shepard are very clear. Here are, if we get a shot, yeah, see? It is very similar to this part, but it's not similar to the back part in any instance. In Andromeda, they don't really have those sort of lights on the back, but what it does have is it does have some lights as just a stripe, as one single entity. And again, this is more similar to how Andromeda designed its armors than it is the original trilogy. Especially because if this is Shepard, then this would have to be more similar to, you know, this back design. And not having that back design intentionally means that this is probably not Shepard. And it's more similar that it's a new protagonist than it's not. And additionally, I also want to mention that the undersuit, as you can see here, it's much more slimmed down, much more hugging the skin, and you can see here that this armor is not that bulky. It's very slim, very slim. And as we see them just like walk away, you know, we don't really see that much bulk. You know, it's definitely not a Commander Shepard, and that's the thing that I want to point out very vehemently, is that this is probably not Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard would not have this design for their armor and for their reveal. If it was Commander Shepard, it would be in this armor without their face. That's how it would be, but it's not. It just clearly isn't. Which is one thing that I think a lot of people sort of don't really understand, and is that's like, this isn't Commander Shepard. There's no way this is Commander Shepard, because Commander Shepard has a very specific feel and style to them that is very involved. That is this, basically. While this is more similar to Andromeda's design of armors, especially the undersuits and the sort of like cushion paddings that we have for the Pathfinder's armor. Now, obviously, this is the Mark 1 version, where the later ones are a bit more bulkier and a bit more strapped up, but you can definitely see that the more thinner, more skin-tight design, again, is like very contrasted with how Mass Effect does it, which is more bulk than not. And yeah, there's nothing much else to go through the trailer. There is like a silhouette of the Mud Skipper, if we look here. Like, something in the distance there could be similar to the Mud Skipper that we saw. And where is it? Yeah, here. It could be similar to this. It could also be this ship that's over here as well. But it's very hard to tell. Additionally, the Krogan that's over here, or the Turian that some people may have suggested, could be referenced to this guy that we see over here, but I'm not particularly sure. It's definitely a companion. I have no doubt in my mind that that is a companion as well. But where a lot more juicy details come from... but first, let's just end off on this. This whole trailer, all that it does to confirm is this one very specific thing. Commander Shepard is probably not the protagonist, and is probably not returning in the next Mass Effect game. It is 100% confirmed, at least in my mind, that Commander Shepard is not going to come back. That's guaranteed. And it's going to be a new protagonist. I don't think this is Ryder, because this is also not Ryder's style. Ryder's color scheme is a lot more, as you can see here, blues and whites than, you know, the N7 color designation. So I don't think it's Ryder, but I do think there is something involved in Andromeda, and I'll get to that right now. So here we have the poster. This poster was released alongside it, and, you know, we get a lot more detailed look. We can see that, you know, looks like a dome shape, looks very, you know, aesthetic, and also very skin tight. This is a suit, obviously, and it looks like you can take it off where there's like minimal armor under here. Again, this is really cool. I do like the design. I think the design is really well done. But to me, this really does confirm this isn't Shepard. Shepard would not look this slim, and also additionally would not wear this kind of outfit. But within here, we see a couple of things. One, this is definitely a new armor. I'm not sure what it is. It's a double silencer, which is very funny. But like, there's nothing really much to confirm here. What we can get here is a lot of interesting things. First off, we can start from right to left. A few humans, a few interesting hairstyles. It looks a lot more fancy and whatnot. A jellyfish there, a jellyfish here. You can also see what looks like to be what a lot of people speculated, Garrus, question mark, and I don't think this is Garrus. Not every Turian with a visor is Garrus. This is definitely a male Turian because of the fringe. It doesn't have the sort of pushed in fringed or lack of fringe that a female Turian has, but it's definitely not Garrus. You can also can't really see the math too well, and also this is the HD version. This is the HDest of HD versions that there is. But this is probably not Shepard. This is probably not Garrus. This is probably just a little Easter egg that, you know, BioWare wanted to put it. Again, and additionally, like, look at the visor. This is not like Garrus's visor. Garrus's visor covers his specific eye in a not in this long way, but rather in this very like short, like here's what his visor looks like, and this guy's visor is a lot more longer. Additionally, you can see his mouth is covered, so it could also be that he's wearing a mouthpiece. And it also, look at the color scheme. This is a lot more silver gray than Garrus's iconic blue gray, blue metal. And if we look up here, we don't see much. We see just like humans, more jellyfish. we just see some like people with no real silhouettes. This could be a Turian, this is a Krogan, but nothing really important to here. Not a lot to break down here. We'll get to these two eventually. Oh, I'm happy about that. We can see on the very far left, we can see an Asari, a human. Not sure what this is. This is all very abstract, and I don't really think this is important. And then we see this person, which looks very interesting. The design is very unique. This is probably a Turian from the shape language of the frills. It could also be some other species. It could also just be a guy with a helmet. That's also possible. We got a human, and this like oddly tall Solarian, if that is a Solarian. Now, I assume it's a Solarian because, you know, for a couple of reasons. Let me show you over here. So here's a Solarian, right? And I'm obviously using the Mass Effect Andromeda one, simply because this is the most updated versions of all the character designs. So, you know, this is what BioWare would be, you know, referencing and having and whatnot. So you can see here, obviously the legs, it's a backward bend. It has the knees bent like how humans do, but then it has this other part over here. And this guy also has that. Now, he is taller than most Solarians, and additionally, he is more wider than most Solarians. As you can see here, Solarians are very thin. Now, could this be a new species? Probably not. This is probably just confirming that different body types will exist for, you know, for the different races, which that's literally all that it means, you know. Like, I don't really think that this means like new alien species or anything. The only thing I can say is it could be a Turian, but with like a weird helmet design. But I do think it's more evocative of a Solarian than it is a Turian. We have a Volus who seems to be standing on a little pedestal over here. I don't think this is anything else but just a Volus. And then we get to these highlights of the show. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll go here first. Geth, nothing new. We knew Geth were going to be a thing for the entire time. As we can see in this poster over here, from not only the fact that this whole thing looks like a Geth, but also we can see a Geth body here. So it wasn't really a big surprise that Geth are coming back. What's interesting though is that Geth has a very different design. Looks like they're enclosed in a robe, which is very interesting. Not sure what that means specifically. It could just mean that the Geth are taking up fashion, which is good for them. But then we look here, and this is unquestionably, undoubtedly a Angaran. An Angaran from Andromeda. Talking to whom, mayhaps? Could this be Liara? Then how is this Angaran from the Andromeda galaxy all the way here? And you say, no, this can't be an Angaran. It just simply can't. It is an Angaran. You know what? Look here. This is what an Angaran shape looks like. It's very wide. It's very colorful. It's wide varied colors. There's also jaw is obviously purple, and that's a very iconic color for the Angarans. And you can see here, very purple, and the legs bend like how they do with the Angaran. The knees bend in a sort of like smooth way, in a very circular way, and then have a very jagged end at the end. We obviously can't count toes, sadly enough, but this is an Angaran, undoubtedly an Angaran. There was also a teaser poster such a long time ago with this one, and this one had the shape language of an Angaran, but it was very hard to confirm because it's very blurry. It could be just a human in the suit, it could be anything, but no, 100% confirmed. Angaran are back. It is confirmed. There's no doubt in my mind that the two galaxies are going to join together, which means we are going to get a sequel to Andromeda, whether or not people like it. It's gonna be grand, dude. I'm so glad Andromeda isn't forgotten, because this is so cool. Look at him. Look at him. Obviously, this isn't the highest res versions. It is the highest res version available currently. But like, this is unquestionably an Angaran. From the color scheme, to the silhouette, to the details here, there's no other race in Mass Effect that has this design other than the Angarans. Like, all the back-legged species are either too big, like the Krogan, too thin, like the Solarian, and in this case, this Solarian has the head shape of a Solarian, or are Turians, and Turians have a very specific shape language, a very specific silhouette. There's no other race with back legs, and Quarians are too thin for this. This is too bulky for a Quarian, and there's no helmet here. This is, and also this is not a helmetless Quarian. I cannot, the head is too big for a Quarian to have. This is undoubtedly, unquestionably ANGARAN, and that is exciting. That is exciting, dude. Like, look at this, man. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's in a way a Andromeda sequel. And the only things I have to cover here are things like theories such as, why is an Angaran here? How did this Angara get here in the Milky Way? Presumably. Especially because the trailer for a previous N7 and for this one doesn't really indicate where it is, but the assumption is, yeah, this is probably the Milky Way. So how did this Angaran, this fine chap, get over here? Probably through something that was teased another time, this one, which is this mass relay over here. It is indicated as a mass relay, it's hinted at. I doubt, it isn't a mass relay. So it's probably through this thing. Another theory that I propose personally is the Jardan. The Jardan in Mass Effect Andromeda are this super advanced race. They've basically made desert worlds into lush garden worlds, and they've basically created the Angara. They've made life. They've won up the Protheans and are probably on par with the Reapers. So from my personal theory, I think that the Jardan were either given to the plans, or the initiative used a Jardan forge to feed it plans to make a mass relay, a super mass relay similar to Omega, where it can slingshot a ship to another location in like instantaneously or with no time delayed at all. And I think that's what is why the Angaran is here. I don't think there is some like timey-wimey bullshit or some multiverse theory shit. It's purely, simply, probably just the Jardan made a giant relay. And obviously you say like, this looks human though. How can you explain this? This could just be an after effect, or additionally, just could be another mass relay because of it. But yeah, there's nothing much else to cover, because like everything else isn't really in this poster that identifiable. Anything that could be identified isn't really. Well, I guess the only last thing I can talk about is people think this is a bar on Omega. It's clearly not a bar on Omega. And let me show you here. So here's Afterlife. Notice what some of the specific things about Afterlife. It has an overall color scheme of dark, orange, black. It's very grimy. It's not shiny at all. There are shiny, obviously elements here and there, but overall it's not really that reflective. What it's more similar to, this bar, is Purgatory. Look at this. Purgatory is almost shinier. It has the correct color schemes for this, which is reds and blues and whites. It's a lot more similar to Purgatory than it is to, obviously, the Afterlife. I don't know why people think this is the Afterlife. It just doesn't make sense. Or bar on Omega. Omega's aesthetics has never been this like shiny, or has whites or reds, or this like blue tone over everything. Omega has always had a sort of orange red filter over everything. And especially it was very grimy. You can see very few shiny panels parts over here. And additionally, a lot of Omega's residents, especially in Afterlife, look a lot more on edge. But none of these guys look on edge, right? These, like, look at the clothes that are here. This clothing is indicative of a lot more of a relaxed, laid-back, rich feel to everything. So yeah, this is definitely not Omega. This is probably just on the Citadel or just on another unnamed planet. And yeah, there's nothing else for me to cover other than that. So let's wrap it up. So what does this mean? So what does this mean? 1. The protagonist is a new character. most likely. It's not Shepard. Shepard's not coming back, and if Shepard does come back, it's going to be in a very limited role. Shepard is just not going to be that important in the next game, I personally think. I don't think they're going to be the main plot. I don't think they're going to be anything else other than just, you know, maybe a reference here or two, or maybe just one cameo appearance. This is clearly a new protagonist, no doubt about that. But what is interesting is that it's taken a lot of design cues from Andromeda and how they make their armor sets. It's a lot more slimmer. The color schemes seem more similar to what a Pathfinder might wear, and additionally, it looks similar to like the undersuit of Andromeda. In Mass Effect, we've never seen an undersuit for the characters, and I don't think we have, like, in any of the games. The closest is like some of the armor designs in Mass Effect 1, and even then that's a bit of a stretch, because this, like, Mass Effect 1's armor designs have not been relevant since Mass Effect 1. A majority of armor designs are more similar to Mass Effect 2 and 3. That's what people think about when they think about, you know, Mass Effect armor designs. It's the bulkiness of 2 and 3's. Additionally, from the poster, what we know is that this is clearly, you know, connection to Andromeda, especially with the distress signal from Andromeda, which means it's going to be an Andromeda game, at least in some aspects, which makes me really happy. I love Andromeda, and I can't wait to have Andromeda back in some form or fashion. This is going to be really fun and exciting. And there's nothing really much else to speculate on that's not going to be stretching the truth or hearsay. I think any theories about like time travel or multiverse theory is too far-fetched, not in line with what Mass Effect has always tried to be, which is at least somewhat hard sci-fi. I don't think they should throw it out the window. And what does this mean for like the next Mass Effect game? Don't know. Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect game most likely has no development. I do not think they have any development. They may have an idea, but that's nothing, okay? Games develop and change constantly when they're being in this very proto stage, this alpha stage. Not even alpha stage, but pre-production phase. It's going to change constantly. It's going to have different stories, different characters, different motifs. Everything's going to change, especially with Dreadwolf still coming out. And this game is probably not going to come out until like 2028 or 2029. It's going to be a long ways away from this game. And from what we see here is probably not going to be the final product of the game. It is clear that they have made assets so far, because if what they say is true at the bottom here of gameplay not final represents a game in development, then there will be some similarities in here. But yeah, overall, I think this teaser is really cool. I like the armor design. I like the N7 stuff. I like it that it's a different guy. I personally hoped he was going to be a writer, but I'm just happy Andromeda is going to get something. It's just going to be so cool, man. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, it's going to be so good. But yeah, and that's it. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, I guess. And, no, yeah. I hope, there's more stuff that's gonna come out, because, you know, I certainly enjoyed it a lot.